What's up, guys? Today we're going over the rear naked choke defense with Dale of Detroit Urban Survival Tactics and going from there into a guillotine.
So from here, we come here. Okay, that's how we open them up.
Right, and I'm not saying that you can't, right, opening up, but you ended up spinning the person into a guillotine.
Right, so what you do is you maintain the force here, okay? And then you peel them out using that force. Okay? So the more force that they push forward with, the more goes in the eye.
Right. So these are a couple of them, and we'll do with the shotgun later on as well, where I have a little bit of a problem with it. I'm all for eye gouging when it comes to self-defense, whatever you have to do to be safe, right? But as soon as I feel it, with the fingers going into the eye, you always need a point of leverage, right? You talk about leverage a lot.
Well, what we're doing is using pain. Right.
Some of the guys that are in the UFC are like, oh, that doesn't work. For you, it doesn't, because you're a professional fighter, right? But we have to have a system that works for anyone, anywhere, any size, right?
Right. So these are options, right? They come about based on the situation. So when you peel this guy's face back and he resists, his eye's going to come out. If he doesn't resist, he peels out, then he goes over there. And you don't do you wouldn't take him into a guillotine.
Yeah. So
your transition is, whatever it is. So we just show lots of options.
And I agree with you when it comes to self-defense. Every situation is dynamic. You can't pre-script it saying this is what's going to be.
Right.
You never know how someone's
going to react. So what we do is just open your brain up with all these options so you can decide what you want to do.
All right. So once the eye gouging goes in and the person let's go. I'm not saying that can't happen. My problem is the spinning around into a guillotine from there. Plus, again, you're saying that it's depending on the size of the person. Like in a self-defense situation, these are finer points, but I would recommend someone.
Your center is lower than mine, so that's going to be hard for me to manipulate you anyway into a guillotine, for example. But a taller person, they're actually falling the whole time. Okay, so yeah. So when I reached up here and I gripped his eyes, he was already falling down already now. So he's already. There was no way for him to do what you do, which is to simply back up, and that's because your center is lower. I have less range of motion over your vertical plane. Right. So when I articulate your body here, you can actually adjust your body a lot faster than a bigger person.
Right.
So it's harder to deal with people who are actually more compact than it is a much larger person. So example is someone like you, if you were going forward and I were to do this to your nose, you could actually adjust your body. Right. Where a bigger person cannot do that.
So they can't if you bring the upper body over the hips.
Yeah, right? You can. If I go like this, you could actually roll out of that. Yeah, right? There's lots of ways you can do that. That's also because your center is lower. If you were much bigger than me and I come here, you're not going to be able to adjust because my center is now lower than yours.
Yeah, also the position, when you position one leg behind my leg.
I actually didn't touch you.
No, you didn't put it, but your range of motion is longer. Yes. So, and you feel that would work for a female too, a smaller, weaker?
Yeah, we have females do it to men. Because, of course, do with intention too. They're actually, really pushing hard. They're not actually doing what we're doing.
When it comes to a headlock from the side, I agree. We teach the same thing under the nose, in the eyes. All of that works as far as the pressure. Going from here into a full guillotine, that for me is gonna be very, very difficult to do. So here we see Dale using the eye poke against the rear naked choke, and can it work? You will see in many videos where I talk about self-defense, where people say you can strike to the groin, eye gouge, do all these things, whether it's a rear naked choke or a regular choke. Can it work? Potentially, it can work if you drive your finger deep in enough so that the person lets go. The problem is that the risk, in case you miss, is that you go into sleep and you only have a few seconds. And as we saw, for example, in the UFC fight with Cachoeira, the Brazilian MMA fighter, who stuck her finger really deep into Gillian Robertson's eye, and she still got choked out. It's not necessarily an end to the fight. And as we also see, spinning into a guillotine did not happen with me. It worked a little easier with Dale's own student, and I wouldn't have done it. It wouldn't have happened that way, I think, if it was someone that doesn't work with Dale. But also the fact that he mentions that my center of gravity is lower. Yes, but again, back to self-defense. For something to be able to be considered functional in a self-defense situation, it has to work for anyone, anywhere, at any time. So can an eye gouge work? It can work. Would I rely on it in a self-defense situation or even in any situation with a rear naked choke? No.